If you're looking to build a community for your business because you know these goals are important, well, congratulations, you're already ahead of the curve. In this video, I'm going to share the lessons that I learned after building a successful community for my startup. And if you're wondering how I've classified a community as successful, well, for me, the goal of the community was to help me increase sales for my e-commerce store without paying for marketing, all at the cost of $0. Although I should note that it did take a lot of time and effort, especially for me at the time because I had no community building experience whatsoever. So I was kind of figuring things out as I went along. But for me, it was a really important time where I learned how great community could be to support business. So let's go through my hard-earned lessons to help you build a community for your business with confidence. Lesson 1. Care about the people that you're building a community for. It's not about you and your business needs. You have to put yourself behind the rest of the people in the community. You have to put others' needs first and truly care about them. Lesson 2. Pay special attention to other communities that your members are already participating in. Take note of what they're posting. What's the vibe in the community? Are they getting the answers to their questions within 24 hours? What's their experience like in this community? I noticed that when I joined, the vibe had turned toxic over time. Members are getting super frustrated with the way that comments are being managed. Toxic members weren't being booted out, and it completely changed the experience for these members. It's super important to pay attention and do your research. Lesson 3. Identify the gaps that building your community can fill. In my case, it was ensuring that this toxic vibe was a complete no-go from the start. I created a vibe that was a lot more helpful, friendly, and supportive. Maybe you notice that there's a ton of questions that are being unanswered in other communities that your members really need help with. This is the gap that you need to pay attention to, and you can try to solve that in the new community that you build. Tip number 4. Craft your value proposition carefully and be considerate when building your community. It was super important that I was clear from the start as to what this community that I built stood for. I wrote house rules that were really clear, and I made it really visible as to why the community exists. The house rules clearly stated what kind of behavior was acceptable, what kind of vibe we were going for, and also, most importantly, what wasn't. My whole onboarding process revolved around this as well. And my last tip and lesson learned was how valuable it is to deliver as much value as possible to your members right at the start. I'm talking as soon as you onboard new members, give them the most positive experience you can right from the get-go. If your community is 1 day old, you should be delivering value. Within the first 6 months, you should be blowing people's minds with all the value that you're generating for them to the point that they're completely shocked and don't even understand why you're giving them this much value. So for example, with this community that I'd built for my business, I was answering all questions within 24 hours. If not sooner. It required a lot of time on my part, but within months, what I'd found was I'd created this super supportive and helpful vibe in the community, and other members were actually emulating my own behavior. So because I'd front-loaded my investment of time at the beginning, what I found was several months later, I didn't have to put in all that time because there were other members that were basically cloning my own behavior. I'd set the tone and bar really high for acceptable behavior, so members would report inappropriate or toxic behavior quickly. They didn't want the group to go downhill either because they valued the group now that I had given them so much value to begin with. It really caught on all because of the effort that I'd given them at the beginning. So there you have it, 5 quick lessons that I learned from building my very first community that really helped propel my business. And I haven't looked back since. I've been building communities for multinational companies, and I also help mentor other businesses to help them build their own successful communities. If you thought these lessons were helpful, check out my book review. I reviewed a book called The Business of Belonging by David Spinks, who is considered like the grandfather of community to many people in the community management industry. It's an incredible book. I took away so many learnings from that, so I highly recommend you check out that video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.